driving. Hope comes and stops us in our tracks. Bravely we prove in our striving, trudging together each day. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Good morning, everyone. It's time for the daily reflection. It's what, Tuesday? Yeah, Tuesday. July 20th. Now, y'all know who I am. I never do introductions. I think I'm supposed to, though. I think you're supposed to. I'm Dion, and I'm the founder and owner of Trudging Together and Raw Recovery, and it just doesn't feel right when I do that. But welcome to Trudging Together. How about that? A community of like-minded people will come together to work on this thing called recovery. Yeah. All right. If you're here, please say hello, whether you're watching live or the rewatch. And yeah, say hi. Today we're going to be talking about the art of listening. And yeah, let's go ahead and get right on into the reading and see what we come up with. Let's do that. It is a privilege of wisdom to listen, Oliver Wendell Holmes once wrote. If I try as hard as I can to cultivate the art of listening uncritically and without making premature judgments, chances are great that I'll progress more rapidly in my recovery. So when we try and listen for the similarities and not the differences, right? And there again, that's our attitude. What's our attitude on life today? Are we fighting it? Are we in agreement with it? What are we doing with it today? Okay. When you go to meetings, okay, there's a lot of things people say. I'll give a great example. Somebody was talking yesterday and they said retarded, and that's a word that I don't go for. And I didn't react. Instead, I listened to the rest of what he had to say. I didn't feel like it was here's the thing. I didn't feel like it was my business to say something to him because of how I felt in my reaction. Does that make sense? In other words, I think I probably would have done that person, myself and that person, a disservice if I would have opened my mouth. Absolutely. Because what are we really there for? It's probably something he's worked on, right? In the beginning, I used to say it all the time and do impressions and things like that. I can't get on that person. And there were times when I slipped in my verbiage. So let's kind of give that to other people. Okay. Sometimes people are talking and they're going, oh, well, we're not supposed to talk about that in meetings, isn't it? Well, if it's a newcomer, let them say whatever the hell they want to, man. Let them talk for 10 minutes. Why not? Do you have that's what the meeting's all about, right? It's for the new person, so why not? Not only that, but might be good to listen to them and remind us of where we used to come from. Not only that, but, if we're listening uncritically without making premature judgments, your progress is going to be quicker. So, if I try as hard as I can to listen to the feelings and thoughts expressed rather than to the speaker, I may be blessed with an unexpectedly helpful idea. Yeah, and I kind of feel like that's the difference between empathy and sympathy. One second, guys. Dealing with the Delta variant over here. I haven't had the shots. I can't have the Delta variant. I think it's allergies because it's been hanging on for like 3 weeks now. So, um, all right. Do you guys remember? This is a little off topic. Remember back in the 90s when the Pope came here and they had National Youth Day, I think it was, or World Youth Day, and there were kids here from all over the frickin' world. Yeah, and brought their fucking. I got sick. There was a cold that was going around, and this sucker held on for 3 months of coughing, and man, it was horrible. If I try as hard as I can to listen to the feelings. So yeah, we were talking about the difference between empathy and sympathy. Sympathy is, oh man, that sucks. Sympathy is feeling bad for the person. Empathy is understanding where the person is coming from. Okay? Big difference. We're not here to feel sorry for each other and pat each other on the head and tell each other it's going to be okay. Because it's not okay. What we're doing is not okay. But we can change it. There's hope. The good news is you're the one that needs to change. The even better news is you're the only one that can change you, and you're the only one that you can change. The essential quality of good listening is humility, which reflects the fact that God's voice speaks to us even through the least and most inarticulate of his children. Just because somebody doesn't speak the way that, or maybe they're a little bit slower. Some people have had strokes. I had a good friend. People used to think she was drunk, and no, she had a stroke. Okay? And sometimes they wouldn't listen to her in meetings, and she had some great things to say. There wasn't anything wrong with her mind. It's just that her output wasn't all that great. Odd rod, man. You don't know who God's going to speak through, and you don't decide that either. So shut the fuck up and listen. Does a holier-than-thou attitude sometimes close my mind to the shared suggestion of others? Are you willing to change? Even the ideals and things that I do right now are subject to change. I'm human, and I'm going to change. Let's go and read at it. We're already talking humility, so we might as well get to daily reflections. We like to talk about 7th step all month. But now the words, of myself I am nothing, the Father doeth the work, began to carry a bright promise and meaning. 12 Steps from Traditions, page 75. I think I read this yesterday, because I just kept on reading, remember? Yeah, this is exactly what I read yesterday. Okay, I'll go a page back. So it is that we first see humility as a necessity, but this is the barest beginning. Okay. Just making sure we're getting the full effect here. To get completely away from our aversion to the idea of being humble, to gain a vision of humility as the avenue of true freedom and the human spirit, to be willing to work for humility as something to be desired for itself, takes most of us a long, long time. A whole lifetime geared towards self-centeredness cannot be set in reverse all at once. Rebellion dogs are every step at first. Right, so it's saying that it's going to take us some time to find some humility and figure out humility, because we've been fighting it most of our lives. And I used to be against this. When I first heard this, so here again, right? Hearing what we want to hear. And I heard humility, and I'm like, I'm not going to let people humiliate me. Fuck that. You could kiss my ass. It's the wrong word. A big difference between humiliation and being humble and humility. They're very separate words. So don't get them confused like I did. I don't think most other people do. I think that was just my brain trying to fight. I think it knew better. It just wanted to fight, right? That's probably closer to the truth. When we finally admitted without reservation that we are powerless over alcohol, we are apt to breathe a great sigh of relief. Well, thank God that's over. I'll never have to go through that again. Then we learn, often to our consternation, this is only the first milestone of the new road we are walking. Still goaded by sheer necessity, we reluctantly came to grips with those serious character flaws that made problem drinkers of us in the first place. Flaws which we must be dealt with to prevent a retreat into alcoholism once more. Or once again. We will want to be rid of some of these defects, but in some instances this will appear in an impossible job from which we recoil, and we cling to the passionate persistent to others which are just as disturbing to our equilibrium because we still enjoy them too much. How can we possibly summon the resolution and the willingness to get rid of such overwhelming compulsions and desires? I'll read this, I think it's a short paragraph. Yeah, all right. But again, we are driven on the inescapable conclusion which we draw from a experience that we surely must try with a will, or else all will fall by the wayside. At this stage of our progress, we are under heavy pressure and coercion to do the right thing. We are obliged to choose between the pains of trying and the certain penalties of failing to do so. These initial steps along the road are taken grudgingly, yet we do take them. We may still have no very high opinion of humility as a desirable personal virtue, but we do recognize it as a necessary aid to survival. So in the beginning, we take it as a necessary aid to survival, but you will find by the time you get to the 11th and 12th step that this will become a virtue. A virtue is a good habit. That's what a virtue is, right? I think Jasmine agrees. As soon as I said it, she was like, all right. I think we still had a prayer to cover here. Today I pray, may my higher power keep me from being holier than thou with anyone whose matter or language or opposite point of view or apparent lack of knowledge turns me off to what they are saying. May I be listening always for the voice of God, which can be heard through the speech of any one of us. Today I'll remember, hear the speech, not the speaker. All right. If you made it to the end here, I actually had a question for people. I wouldn't mind a comment. What do you guys think about them changing the big book? I absolutely agree with changing, him, her, to them, us. Absolutely, man. That's not going to change anything. But they want to change the actual verbiage because they're saying it doesn't match the way we talk today. It hasn't matched the way we talk today for a long time. Okay? Go pick up a fucking dictionary. Please. We don't need to change the verbiage. Okay? The first 164 pages are written by 100 people. The personal stories are written by one person. It is a matter of their opinion and experience. Okay? And I love personal stories. Guys, I do podcasting. But it is the first 164 pages that keep us sober. Personal stories are great. But for God's sakes, keep them out of the meetings. Love you guys. Peace out. And have a day.